All right, so today we're talking about instant coffee, and if you've been following our Prepper Pantry series, it's been about 10 months, about 45 videos since we talked about instant coffee, so it seemed like a fair time to bring it back out and start talking about it. Where does it fit into your long-term food storage pantry, why you might want instant coffee, and I also want to talk a little bit about the shelf life, the history of it, and how popular is it really. And I was a little surprised to find, so in the US and France, US, about 10% of coffee that people drink normally is instant. In Italy, it's 1%, and in British homes, it's 75%. So really depends on where you're at in the world as to if you drink instant coffee regularly. Thought that was kind of interesting looking at the history of instant coffee. So instant or soluble coffee was invented and patented in 1890. So it's been around a long time. We'll call that, 130 something years, under a patent number 3518, sold under the trade name Strang's Coffee, citing the patented dry hot air process. So allegedly, first instant coffee was 1890, doing what they call dry hot air. It was also previously attributed to Satoru Keto, Japanese scientist working in Chicago in 1901, introduced the powdery substance in Buffalo, New York at the Pan American Exposition, right? And you also had the Nescafe brand, which actually was kind of cool. This is the Nescafe. They introduced a more advanced coffee refining process, and it was launched in 1938. So Nescafe has been making instant coffee since 1938. That's a long time making instant coffee. So it's made through one of two processes. It's made through freeze drying or spray drying, but ultimately, unlike something like your ground coffee, which is this is just coffee beans that were roasted and ground up, right? Also good to have in your pantry. This was actually coffee at one point, right? So the freeze drying process, the spray drying process, they take the coffee grinds, they actually make coffee, and then they process it. So this was once coffee, and if you're one of the kind of people that's worried about waste or using less product in the world, instant coffee uses about twice as many grinds per cup, right, that you would get on regular coffee grinds. So the process, there's a little bit of waste in the process compared to just getting the beans, grinding them up and make coffee. You end up using about twice as much. So the question really for the long-term pantry is, does it go bad, right? Does instant coffee go bad? And more than that, what about coffee grinds? Do coffee grinds go bad? Do coffee beans go bad? Because I see that question a lot, right? A lot of people out there wondering, you're trying to look at your long-term food storage pantry, figure out shelf life of different things. So you want to know, does it go bad? How long is this good for, right? And on the container, you got about a year and a half on the jar. And I like getting the glass jars because I'm going for more long-term food storage, and I feel like glass jars are going to store longer than, say, just the plastic, right? But you have to do what you do. The glass ones are a little bit more expensive, so if you're going cost conscious, you get the plastic. I just feel like for long-term, glass jar is going to last a little bit longer. So from what I'm reading online, I'm not warranting this myself. Good news, bad news. Good news is, no, coffee doesn't really go bad in the way that bread grows mold or bananas slowly rot. And drinking coffee made from old beans won't make you sick, even if the expiration date has passed. So there's a lot of information out there on that, but essentially what you're seeing is, no, instant coffee does not really expire. It can lose quality, it can lose certainly freshness, right? I don't know if freshness is the right word, but it can degrade, but it's not going to go bad. It's not going to make you sick. It may not taste great. It may lose some of the coffee qualities, but it's really the same thing for ground coffee. If you store it in a cool, dry place, keep it sealed up, it doesn't really ever go bad, right? So that's good to know in terms of long term. The ground coffee, this is 180 cups. This is 100 cups. So you've got a lot. 100 cups of coffee. I think I paid about $6 for it. Didn't so much go on price. As I said, if you're going cheaper, get the plastic container. But instant coffee has a ton of uses, whether you're in England, where they use it, 75% of coffee is instant anyway, or you're in Italy, where it's 1%, said US about 10%. You can actually just take a water bottle, right? Dump some water out, drink some of the water, and pour your instant coffee in it, shake it up, and you have coffee. So the advantage of instant coffee, if you're caffeine dependent like I am, I like my coffee every day, it's easy to make on the go compared to coffee grinds where you need some kind of a French press, percolator, something like that. this is already ready to go, right? It was coffee. They took the water out. It's still coffee. You pour it in your cup. You pour it in your water bottle. I guess some people do pour it in milk, right? So I was looking at something they call milk coffee. You could pour it in your milk, hot, cold, whatever you want to do. I guess you could probably just eat it out of the container if you were super in a hurry to get some coffee, right? It would just kind of eat the little crystals. Not necessarily saying I've ever done that. But it's easy. It's ready to go. Right. It's just instant coffee. 100 cups for $6. Still cheaper than, Starbucks or anything like that. The instant's generally going to be more expensive than the ground coffee. But if I'm doing that math right, it's said $6, 100 cups. It's like 6 cents. 6 cents for a cup of coffee if you're doing the instant. So good for maybe any budget. So I hope that helps out. As I said, I know we've done instant coffee before. I'm trying not to loop too much. I think we're about a year and a half or something in on doing Prepper Pantry, and we try to find new items and bring them to you. Go shopping once a week. So this is a loop back, but I thought, hey, it's been time. I see a lot of people asking the question about coffee, about instant coffee, about shelf life. How do you store it? What do you do? We all want our coffee, or maybe not all of us, but I certainly want my coffee. Whether it's good times, bad times, Shtf, EMP, nuclear war, whatever it is, I'm still going to want my cup of coffee, and the instant coffee might be the way to go. So, as always, thank you for watching, and we appreciate you.